Hello there everyone and welcome back to another From Start to Finish episode. It's been a very long time since I've done one of these, so I do apologize, but I'm doing another one here today, this time on the Vietnam era, so lots of stuff going on in this MOC. Should be a pretty exciting episode, and without any further ado, let's get started. Alright, so here we are on the next episode of From Start to Finish. I'll be doing a Vietnam MOC for this episode. Here's the size that I'm going for this MOC, not too large, not too small. Hopefully it'll be enough space, hopefully I'll be able to cover everything that I want. So one of the main things I want to add is tunnels, so I'll have a tunnel underneath there with kind of a guy under there, as you can see. So I want to do some sort of underground tunnels, the rat tunnels from Vietnam. And up top here, my plan is to hopefully, what I want to do is in the middle, somewhere over here, have a structure, a large building that's been, battle damaged, hit by artillery, almost completely blown apart and torn down, and that's where the Americans will be holding out, making a last stand, and there'll be a little bit of a courtyard probably around the building. And then over on this side, I'll have kind of like nature or like grass and trees and forest kind of come out and end over in this area and transition into more of the city area. So it'll be one building and a bunch of vegetation and kind of forest stuff around it. And I'll have the kind of NVA / Viet Cong troops attacking the Americans who are trying to kind of make a last stand or waiting for air support inside of this kind of broken down headquarters building. So that's a quick plan. It's probably going to change as I go along, but let's go ahead and get started. All right, so a lot of progress here to start off this episode. Apologies for some of the lighting over there. Where I film the start to finish episodes, I have a big window behind me and it's quite bright outside, but here's what I've got so far. I have the start of the structure. So this is kind of what I was imagining for this building. It'll be maybe another level tall, and then I've got this kind of barrier or courtyard thing, a wall that was around the building, but it's kind of been decayed and battle damaged. So, and then the rest of this area will be streets and vegetation and different things like that. So here's what I've got for the building. I went with a white and sand green color design. Originally I was going to go with a light gray and sand blue, but I decided to use that design for this wall up front right here, and to switch to a sand green color design for the actual building itself with white. I think that'll look hopefully pretty cool, but here's just the worn, torn kind of side of the outer wall right here that's kind of been destroyed, and we could have some guys taking cover behind there. I've also got it on this side as well. Not as detailed completely, but still got some good detail on there. And there's the other side right here with also a little battle damaged hole back there, and I think that'll look pretty good. And then I'll have to finish the back still over there. But here's what I've got for the actual building. Here's some of the designs. Here's a window. I've got a window on each side there using some plates and tiles in the reddish brown for the actual kind of shingles or blinds or kind of stuff like that where you can open the window. And then I've got this design on the outer edges of the walls. Maybe I'll be able to put a screenshot on screen. There's a particular building from Red Orchestra 2, Rising Storm. It's the Vietnam version of Red Orchestra that I used to play a lot. I had a particular building that I was always remembering, and then I went back and actually found it in some gameplay, and I'm kind of referencing that, so maybe I'll be able to do a little bit of screenshots there to show you guys. Here's the entrance right here, and then I've got a path. This will kind of continue on along the outside of the build, and then I've got a door back there as well. I guess you can take this off. Here's what the front of the building is looking like right there. And my plan is to add another level up there, and it'll kind of be a destroyed upper level right here, kind of a similar design to this where the wall's kind of damaged and you'll have guys up there. And yeah, hopefully it'll be pretty cool, but here's what I've got so far for this building, and I'll go ahead and continue to work and up to you guys once I have some more progress on the rest of the building. Alright, a little bit more work here. I added in some plant life and different terrain work as well as a little bit of a path right here. So I am using a technique that I kind of messed around with in a older MOC that I did, a Pacific Theater MOC, back a while ago now actually. And I use that technique to kind of create a unique plant structure, so it's not just bamboo, it's not just grass, it's a little bit of both mixed in together. And then the path, nothing too complex here for that, just a basic kind of studded path that I've kind of done a couple times, but with a little bit of different twists here and there, but nothing too crazy. I went ahead and also completed more of plant work along this side right here, deciding to go with this dark brown for most of this terrain on this side, and then I actually changed it on the other side of the MOC here, which I'm just now finishing up, so let me go ahead and show that to you guys. And here's the design that I'm going with for the main road right here. Nothing too complex. In fact, it's very, very simple. I decided to go with more of a smooth pavement type look down over here compared to the front of the build where it's more kind of destroyed and battle damaged and more rough. I think that fits pretty well. And then it comes into what would be the rest of the city with kind of a very basic kind of pavement design with some studs. And here's the back of the MOC. I'm kind of just now finishing this area up over here using a similar design to what I showed you guys up near the front of the MOC. The only difference is using some of these larger bush pieces right here to create an interesting look, but just a little bit more stuff that I'm working on here, and I need to touch up a few things on this side before I'm done. I think I kind of want the rougher path design that I have in the front of the MOC to make it seem like it's coming from the forest or the woods area, and then this all the way along the side that I showed you guys is kind of the more smooth pavement where we're entering the city. And then to cover this side over here, what I did was use a new technique that I haven't used before with some of these triangle tile pieces and some of the circular studs right there, and then I used some olive green masonry brick and slopes and cheese slopes to create a couple of rundown ruins right there. And then I created this kind of unique path. So you have to let me know what you guys think of this path. I haven't really tried something like this before. Just kind of messing around with a new technique, which I thought was fun. And that's kind of something that this series is kind of made for, is messing around with different techniques on MOCs that are smaller. Whereas on the big MOCs, I kind of have a plan that I need to stick to, and then I can change things here and there. But with these smaller MOCs in the From Start to Finish series, I love just messing around with these little techniques that I don't get to mess around with too often. Here's what the side of the MOC is looking like with a lot of the foliage as well as terrain and some of the path work that I was just showing you guys. So I think it's coming along pretty well. I just need to touch up a few things back here as I mentioned. But for now, I'm going to go ahead and keep on working. Alright, I know I'm supposed to update you guys a little more frequently, but I just put my head down and decided to work, and this is what I came up with for a lot of the rest of the house. It's not quite done yet, but I was able to do a couple different test designs and stuff for the roof and the second floor itself. I wanted to make it more battle damaged, pretty heavily battle damaged, so we've got a lot of different battle damage holes and support beams and different things collapsing onto the inside. I've got these pillars going all the way up, and then what I've got for a roof is actually just a bunch of white slopes on top right here. And then the parts that are battle damaged so far, what I've got is a bunch of inverted slopes kind of popping out as if part of the roof kind of crumbled away. And, you know, obviously I'd love to have battle damage down here because, like, if artillery or something hit this building or mortars and then it all just kind of fell down here. But I don't want to kind of make this really cramped with a bunch of, you know, random white pieces. So that's the little unrealistic part that I think is just going to have to be how it is. But bunch of battle damage, got the pillars there. Here is the roof up top. Nothing too crazy, just a bunch of larger white slopes. And yeah, I think it's looking pretty good so far. Here is the side. I got some more windows down over there, and the pillar goes all the way up, which I think looks pretty cool. So there's one of the views from the side of the house. The next thing to do is to work on this section up here, which is kind of destroyed. I need to repair that and kind of figure out what exactly I'm going to do up there, and I have to finish these kind of tunnels down here as well. But for now, here's what we're looking like for the MOC. Lots of progress. It's taken a little longer than I thought. I thought this was a decent sized MOC to try to tackle in, you know, like a week or so. It's been multiple weeks now. It's taken a long time, but I'm enjoying this kind of side project over here. So hopefully you guys are enjoying the video so far. But I'm going to go ahead and get back to work and update you guys once I have some more progress. Here is the tunnels with the plates on top. It's a little hard to see, but I think that's okay. So I've got that section all complete down there. And then back up top here, I started to work on this last section. I kind of messed around with some pillar designs, so I want to do kind of some ruins, but I'm using like some tan masonry brick, so I'll get into that some more once I work on that section. Down over here we do have one NVA soldier down here, kind of crawling out of the tunnel with one of the guys helping him up, so I thought that was a cool little touch that I wanted to include. So on to the last part of the build here, which is this front section. I'm doing these pillars and kind of like, imagine like a Yavin 4 kind of ruined, like a ruin area from Yavin 4, like the Battlefront 1 original maps. Something like that's kind of what I'm imagining over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and work, and then hopefully I'll have some cool progress to show you guys here in a little bit. And here is what we're looking at for this area over here. You saw I had the pillars. Now I have completed the rest of this area by adding in a couple more elements of the path, and then just using some more dark brown, again, some more path, a couple more vegetation, and stuff like that. Nothing too complex, but it's kind of like this little kind of monastery type pillar area that I really like. That, like I said in the last clip, reminds me of something like Yavin 4, and I've got a figure in there to kind of show you guys what exactly that is looking like. So I think that's looking pretty cool. There's kind of some cool angles here where you can have some Viet Cong firing in and out of cover at the Americans over there. And this section over here is now also complete. You can see I've covered this whole area with vegetation, a very similar design that I did for everything else. I had this side covered, but now all of this is covered in there. Got a pillar right in there as well. Something I'm really liking from a color scheme standpoint is the tan and the green. I think that just actually looks really cool together, and it's not a color combo I've used a whole lot, but I'm really liking the masonry with the tan right there mixed in with this green vegetation. It just gives me kind of like an adventure type, you know, I don't know. I just really like that color combo, and I'll have to explore with it a little bit more because I haven't used it a ton. And with that, that is pretty much the entire MOC, guys, with this last section build. This is taking me way longer than it should have, a couple months, honestly, but it's now essentially finished. I'm going to touch up hopefully a few more things, and then I'll set up some minifigures, and then I'll kind of give it the final showcase for this MOC. And here we go, guys. I've got the figures all set up here. It's been a while since I've done kind of military figure setup, so I've actually experimented with a couple things, including some muzzle flashes as well as some blood effects, which I normally don't do in my LEGO builds, but I kind of wanted to experiment with a few things in this build. So I'm going to quickly kind of walk through, just because I have a feeling this video is already getting quite long, surprise, surprise. I'm going to quickly walk through some figure setups here and kind of the battle at large, and then we'll go ahead and close out this video from start to finish. But for now, let's go ahead and get into this battle and what exactly is going on. Before I jump into the actual specifics of the minifigures, overall battle, we have the American troops who have kind of fallen back to this building right here. It's been bombarded. They're taking out defensive positions all the way around the building, and the Viet Cong are swarming into this position to try to take out this kind of new command post area or headquarters for the American soldiers. So we've got the tunnels down here, and they're kind of pushing up, and from the different areas kind of off the MOC, you know, different areas of the MOC pushing in. And we also have some guys trying to sneak around and outflank them. And then on this side, as you see, the Viet Cong have actually pushed up all the way, and some of them are in hand-to-hand combat on the side. So it's not looking too good for the Americans, but maybe they'll be able to get an airstrike or something, or some reinforcements to help them out. But that is the overall kind of battle scheme and battle going on in this MOC. Now let's go ahead and get into some specific minifigure placement. First off, we've got the tunnels down here. Very iconic piece from the Vietnam War, so I definitely wanted to include those. We've got one Viet Cong soldier helping another one up through here. One thing to note that I've done with some of my figures here is some of the tan minifigures for the Vietnam side, for the Viet Cong side, have like these caps on them. I'm pretending they are the kind of NVA officers, and then the rest are Viet Cong soldiers. So you see I'll have two officers here, or three with caps, and I'm kind of pretending they're NVA, North Vietnamese Army kind of officers training and kind of leading these Viet Cong troopers here. So I've got one down here kind of holding up the foot of this NVA officers, and he's popping up through a hole, and I'll show that later. And down in here, it's a little bit hard to see, but we have another NVA officer down there, as well as a Viet Cong sniper way in the back down there, and they're kind of preparing for battle. And over here we have the most recent part that I just showed you guys, with some of the Viet Cong soldiers taking cover behind these masonry bricks and all these pillars and stuff like that. So we've got an RPG kind of team down here. We have one Viet Cong soldier who has stolen an M16 right there, and he's taking cover. We have another soldier back there. If I can get him in focus. There we go. And he is actually using a Mosin Nagant. And then another kind of Viet Cong soldier right over here with an AK firing over. So this team right here is firing at the troops in the building. And of course, a lot of really cool angles in here. I always love these angles. If you guys have been around for a while, these minifigure eye-line type views are always my favorite when setting up MOCs. And setting up minifigures is these eye-line perspective shots, where I absolutely love setting those up. And over here we have some awesome stuff going on over here. So as I mentioned, here is that one NVA officer climbing out of the tunnel right there, out of the hole, as he's being led, helped up by one of his fellow troops right there. And there actually is an indent in there, and he goes straight through the floor and up into the battlefield here. All this vegetation, and then we have Another Viet Cong soldier here with a DP-28 Russian light machine gun rushing to get into position. And right here, something new that I've tried is some gore and some muzzle flashes, as well as a tracer right there. So you can see that M60 right there from the American, that M60 right there from the American with a muzzle flash and tracer, and he is lighting up this Viet Cong soldier right here. So I did a little kind of blood effects down there, and like his arm kind of got blasted off there. So I've got a cheese slope to represent like where his arm used to be, and then I also attached a snow cone type piece that I'm using as like a smoke, or like when you guys like in movies where the squib goes off on their body and you can see the little puff of dust that comes off, like, you know, think Saving Private Ryan when anybody kind of gets hit in that movie. I'm kind of doing that effect right here. And continuing along this side, we'll save the front for last because that's my favorite part. We've got the path right here and a couple more engagements going on, nothing too crazy down there, just a few casualties, as well as one American there trying to hold off these two guys. But little does he know, back here we have another Viet Cong soldier sneaking up in the bushes to try to outflank him. And over here, as I mentioned earlier, the Viet Cong have kind of pushed forward and are starting to get really close to the American front lines here, and they're actually engaging in some hand-to-hand combat. So we've got some Viet Cong pushing up through here, one that didn't make it, and then right over here we have two guys that are in some hand-to-hand combat. This American soldier using his M16 to kind of fend off this Viet Cong soldier. Ideally, I would have loved to have more figures over here, but I kind of ran out, as you can see. But right there, we do have some cool hand-to-hand combat as the Americans try to hold off the advancing Viet Cong forces. And here we go. Here's the front part of the build, probably my favorite area, just because this is the part I've been working on the longest for this build. So up top right here, we kind of have the bombed out top of the house that I think I mentioned earlier in the video, where we've got kind of that support beam bar right there falling, in the process of falling, as well as this poor guy right there. He is trying to either climb up, or he, in my mind, was up there, and when the bombardment happened, he is now trying to escape and crawl down, or an explosion happened, he's getting blown out of the window right there. And then over here we have a sniper. This is kind of a cool figure I made using some of those newer capes that are in all the kind of sets nowadays, and I kind of made this guy right here. He's got a sniper rifle, and he is getting set up into position to hopefully provide some cover fire for his teammates down below. Speaking of teammates down below, we've got one guy right here who has been taken out, unfortunately, while trying to cross the street. And again, a couple blood effects. I don't normally do those, but I kind of wanted to add that in for this build. Over here is a cool little scene, again, using kind of the dust right here on one of the Viet Cong figures. We have this American soldier right here, the sleeveless, you know, kind of classic Vietnam look that you see a lot of the time, and he's got kind of a trench gun, shotgun right here, and he's blasting this guy right here, so I decided to put muzzle flash and some dust right there. So I don't know if I'll do this again, where I kind of have, you know, the smoke or kind of dust popping out to you know, indicate a hit on a Lego minifigure body, but we'll see. And then over here along the broken wall, another just a regular American soldier with a M16 returning fire against these guys over here in the ruins. And tucked in way back there, I don't know how well you can see him, we do have another American soldier back there with an M16, and he is kind of popping shots off across the street, also again focusing fire on the ruins area, because over here we do have an RPG getting ready to fire on these guys, so they have a priority right there. And that is pretty much it for this Vietnam era MOC. I had a lot of fun making it, even if it took a lot longer to actually build. I do have a ton of fun making these from start to finish episodes, and it's always a joy whenever I get to do them, because it's kind of something else, a smaller, you know, more specific build and a different theme that I normally don't do as much, you know, when I'm working on my larger scale MOC series. So hopefully you guys did enjoy this kind of military Lego build. I think I've only done like one other Vietnam MOC, you know, in my Lego building past, so this was very fun to revisit this era again and build something unique and pretty fun. And hopefully you guys like it. Stay tuned for more from start to finish episodes. I've always got ideas, so many ideas for these episodes and what MOCs to do next, but let me know in the comment section below if you have any ideas or eras you'd like me to cover for this from start to finish series, and I'll put an info card either on screen or in the description. Pretty much everywhere and anywhere I'll put kind of links to the other videos in this series if you want to check out some of the other ones. I've done World War II, Samurai, Napoleonic era, and of course a Star Wars one. So lots of exciting stuff in that playlist, and hopefully a lot more exciting from start to finish episodes to come in the future. But for now, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's go ahead and move on to the outro. Alright guys, that's going to do it for this episode. I hope you did enjoy. I had a ton of fun making a historical mock once again, and stay tuned for some more from start to finish episodes, as well as the Umbara live streams and Umbara mock update videos. Thank you guys so much for watching, and as always, leave your feedback in the comment section below. Hope you guys have a great day, and may the Force be with you always.